Susan was meditating, and the blue smoke from an incense burner floated around her without disturbing her. She looked like a statue, unmoving, barely breathing. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop in there. Jacob observed the serenity in the aura around her. He was looking at a beautiful woman who looked absolutely unreal and divine. He just stood there admiring the strong woman. Then it occurred to him that, with her capabilities, she would know that someone was looking at her even with her eyes closed. With that thought, he looked away in a hurry and recited the first chapter of the Spirit Concentration Scroll 3 times. After that, he closed his eyes and tried to understand the second chapter. The second chapter corresponded with the second level of the Spirit Concentration Scroll. When Liam taught Jacob the cultivation technique, he didn't expect Jacob to break through the first level so soon. He was afraid that Jacob would rush through the process and thus had only taught him the first chapter. Later, Liam got immersed in work and had planned to check up on Jacob's cultivation progress in a month or so. However, he didn't know that Dracon had personally given tips to Jacob and that Jacob had more talent than he had assumed. Therefore, Jacob had to stumble around without the second chapter of the Spirit Concentration Scroll, despite being worthy of breaking through. On the other hand, Dracon assumed that Liam had taught Jacob the whole Spirit Concentration Scroll, a basic cultivation technique, so he didn't teach Jacob the second chapter either. He just gave Jacob some tips. Constantly repeating the second chapter, Jacob gradually entered a meditative state and was oblivious to everything around him. The clock on the wall struck 6 o'clock. Sensing that the time was up, Susan was about to open her eyes and send Jacob back to his dorm. But something made her stop. She observed that a massive pile of white clouds had accumulated above the building, and the clouds had formed a vortex. The 5 elements began to move violently, and even the soundproof array formation she built around her office was unstable. "Someone is here," Susan thought as she opened her glinting eyes. With the wave of her palm, a blue sword appeared in her hand. She was about to stand up and get ready to attack when the weird fluctuations suddenly stopped. The vortex of clouds vanished, and the array formation became stable again. At that moment, Jacob, who was sitting on the floor right across from Susan, opened his eyes and said excitedly, "Susan, it seems that I have broken through the second level." "What?" Susan stared at him blankly. The blue sword disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, and she grabbed Jacob's arm. She immediately sensed that Jacob's body contained nature's essence. It was empty before. Relieved, she let go of Jacob's hand with a bit of astonishment as she blushed. Not because she grabbed Jacob's arm, but because she, a heavenly level master, had panicked for no good reason. It was embarrassing. But then again, she did not expect Jacob to create a vortex and break through to the second level. Fortunately, she knew Jacob didn't see her panic, and the turmoil in her mind began to calm down. At that moment, an alarmed Liam barged into the room. "Miss Susan, did you see that?" Susan turned around and said, "Don't panic, Elder Liam. It was just Jacob breaking through the second level of the Spirit Concentration Scroll." "Oh." Liam's expression changed from being alarmed to embarrassed, just like Susan was moments ago. He finally calmed down and was pleasantly surprised. "Jacob broke through the second level? That's brilliant." "Yes," Susan stated calmly, maintaining her stern demeanor. "Miss Susan, you are indeed a master of cultivation. Under your guidance, Jacob has broken through the second level so fast." On the inside, he was amazed that Susan was unfazed by the sudden change and was still feeling a bit embarrassed for panicking and rushing to Susan at the slightest threat. "It was no big deal." Susan sounded calm. "Then I will leave you guys alone. I'm sorry that I barged in thinking that something was wrong." Liam sheepishly stepped out of Susan's office, closing the door as he did. After Liam's departure, Susan also regained her composure. "Oh, good. I'm so relieved to know that I'm not the only one who panicked. But this does mean that I need to work on my composure," she thought. Susan was disappointed at herself for getting startled. She was glad that Liam didn't see through her facade. Seeing Liam barging in and then backing out apologetically, Jacob looked confused and asked, "Miss Susan, did something happen?" "Don't call me Ms. Susan. It's Susan," she said coldly. Jacob obeyed her. "Okay, Susan, what happened?" he asked. "Your breakthrough to the second level caused a slight disturbance in the sky. Liam thought something happened and came here to check on me." Susan brushed it off as if it was no big deal. She omitted the part of her own panic with ease. "Oh," Jacob said as his eyes fell on the clock behind her. "It's way past 6 and I have got to go. I have an extra class today. If I have time tomorrow, I'll come here to continue my cultivation," he added. "Okay," Susan nodded. Looking at Jacob, who was walking out, Susan thought, "This guy is such a quick learner. I may have been wrong about him. He does have potential. Although his breakthrough was unexpected, my startled reaction was uncalled for. I have to work harder on my composure." With a disappointed sigh, she closed her eyes, and within seconds, she entered her state of cultivation once again. Books in hand, Jacob hurried to the lecture hall in Block C. He was almost late for his lecture. "Jacob!" Sam, who was sitting in the last row, waved at Jacob. Jacob hurried over and found out that his friends had reserved a seat for him. "We had such a great time playing in today. I won a lot. I am a rich man." Sam was excited to tell him about his bounty. "I went out of school for an errand and didn't really make it back in time," replied Jacob. "Did you see the vortex of clouds above the school? It was almost as big as the basketball court," Sam asked Jacob. "Seriously? I didn't see it. Is it still there?" Jacob acted surprised. "It only lasted for a few seconds, and I didn't even get time to take out my phone to take a picture. I saw it when we were on our way to class," Sam replied. Jacob had a fair idea now of what must have happened when he had his second-level breakthrough, but he wanted to know more about it. He wished he could see it. But before he could ask any more questions, the teacher entered and began to take attendance. When it was Jacob's turn, he just said, "Here," without even raising his head from the table. "Jacob, it seems like most of the girls are looking at you." Sam leaned towards Jacob and whispered. Jacob raised his head at this and scanned the classroom. Indeed, many people, mostly girls, were turning around to look at him. "Is it because the teacher called my name?" he asked his friends. All three of his roommates shrugged their shoulders at the same time, just as lost as him. He began focusing, and little pieces of conversation fell into his ears. "So he is Jacob. Oh, so he is the guy who beat Michael at the athletic games. He was seen around campus with Susan. Did you know that Michael had called him out for a fight tonight on the field? When? 8 o'clock tonight, after this class?" Jacob felt a little uncomfortable as he became the buzzword in the extra class, and more students began glancing at him. The past few days had just been so full of rumors and overflowing attention. He was not used to being in the limelight, and it was really starting to piss him off.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.